start off this channel with a video on my favorite homesteading job, and that's cutting firewood. I'm going to be going over some of the gear you're going to need and put a bit of an emphasis on safety, because using a chainsaw and swinging axes can be dangerous. I'm also going to try and share a few of the tips and tricks that I've learned working in the forest industry over the past 20 years. Hopefully pick up a couple things that help and make your life a little bit easier when you set out to put up your wood for the winter. And we'll get at her. Alright, here we are again. So the first thing you're going to need to go cutting firewood is a chainsaw. I would stick with the two main brands, the Husqvarna or the Stihl. They've both been in business a long time. They both make a really good saw. They have extensive dealer support networks all over the place. You can go to pretty much any town, anywhere, and there'll be somebody that sells and services these things, can get you the parts for these things, and yeah, they're just a really good product. If you maintain these saws, just look after them, they'll last a long time. This saw here, my dad's saw. This thing's 30 years old, still going. It's a Husqvarna, sold same colors as the Stihls. So yeah, I'm sure those other brands that you buy at the box stores there, Echo and Homelight or whatever they're called, I'm sure they're great. Sure they have enough power and all that sort of thing, but I just am a little suspect of the support you can get and the parts and availability of parts, etc., etc. So yeah, try and stick with the main brands if you can. The other thing when choosing a saw is size. I like to have a bigger saw because it makes it a little bit easier. There's more power to chew through the wood. You'll chew through it a little bit faster. You don't have to work as hard, and I wouldn't go anything less than about a 22-24 inch bar. Longer the better, less bending over you have to do while you're cutting. And if you're not, if you're cutting and you're bent over all the time, you're just that much closer to the chain when it's spinning, and if you get a kickback for some reason, it's just more chance of something happening. That's sort of why I think the smaller saws, I'll put this down for a sec, aren't as safe. So some people think you get a smaller saw, it's going to be safer. I disagree. So for one, the bar is not long enough. If you get into some wood that's a little bit bigger, your bar is going to be right buried in that wood, and then the tip, this little area right here, the kickback zone, is going to be in that log, and you stand more chance of getting a kickback. You're closer to this saw. I mean, you can run it out here, but it's just, they're not as good, they're not as powerful. These little saws do have a purpose. If you're an arborist, someone doing a lot of tree work, cutting off branches, climbing up trees to top them and that sort of thing, these saws are great. They're light, they're for their size, they're really powerful, and yeah, you can't beat them for that sort of application. But for stacking up a bunch of firewood, yeah, I wouldn't bother. It's one of those sort of go big or go home scenarios. I think that's that for, so if you're buying a used saw, so just watch out. All chainsaws have the same basic design, all modern chainsaws. You have a chain brake and you have a throttle lock. If you don't have both these things working, you're taking a chance. These are key safety features of a chainsaw. Always make sure the chain brake works before you start going. Chain brake's on, chain won't move, chain moves. Some of the older saws you run into, I mean, this thing's fairly old, but you can see there's no chain brake, so that's an issue. There's no throttle lock. Oh, it's not good. This also has a manual oiler. So you have to press this little plunger here to get oil onto the chain. Your thumb will get tired and will get sore doing that. I don't know, that's sort of why I'd stay away from one of these older saws. Is doesn't have the modern conveniences of a newer saw. I think that's that for chainsaws. Good luck. Now you got a chainsaw sorted out, cut up a bunch of rounds. Now you're going to do some splitting. Got a couple choices here for axes. My first choice is going to be this Fiskars. Just want to also, I'm not a salesman. I don't get paid by any of these companies. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just trying to share a little bit to make your life easier here. So first choice for splitting up rounds is this Fiskars. It has a hollow handle, really long straight handle, gives you a lot of leverage, and this head design, I don't know if you can see that, it's got this different kind of shape than a normal splitting maul. It's really light, you can swing it all day, you don't get as tired as you would just with a regular maul, and it just hammers through the wood. Really good maul. Then we have the Arvika. This is a classic axe. They're made in Sweden. It's high carbon steel. You can't go wrong with an Arvika. This thing just hammers through the wood too. Not quite as well as the Fiskars, but you know what? If you only have one axe, this is the axe I would have. That's a specialized tool for just splitting rounds. You can do other stuff with it, but it wouldn't be good at it. This Arvika here, this thing's got a 4.5 pound head. You can chop down trees, you can do some finer work, you can use it as a splitting axe. This thing is just a good all-around tool, and it is high carbon steel too. So if you're doing some bushcraft things, you can get a spark off this thing. A little bit of a tangent there, but it's another one of the things I'll be going over on this channel, hopefully. Yeah, so there you got your Arvika, choice number 2. And I reach there. Last but not least, the classic splitting maul. There's nothing wrong with these. You know, they've been around forever. This design's been around forever. They cut wood. It is what it is. There's newer, better things. I'd prefer one of these ones. They're both way better options. Way better options. Try to get yourself one of these. You'll thank me later. Alright, on to the clothing. We picked ourselves up a saw, got an axe, but before we go actually cutting firewood, you need the proper safety equipment. Start off with the gloves first. Take your pick, whatever you're comfortable with. I really like rubber palm gloves. They give you a good grip on the saw. You know, you can really, you don't have to squeeze too tightly. You know, it provides a lot of control and reduces fatigue. That's usually what I wear. Okay. This GoPro hates gloves, hates those gloves. I'm gonna give them a shot, see how they make out. Also, you're gonna want hearing protection and eye protection. I like to wear this because it's what I'm comfortable with. Been wearing this for a long time, and yeah, works great. I like to have a full face shield. I've had splinters come up off the saw and stuff and stick right into this thing, so not only does it protect your eyes, but it also protects your face. So that would be my first choice. At a minimum, I would wear some just safety glasses. You know, proper safety glasses though. These things have a ballistic rating, and they're better than just some shades you'd buy off the shelf kind of thing. And you know, always get away with just some desi damps or some little earplugs there. That's a minimum. I'd have that for sure. Next, you're going to want to protect your legs. That chain is ripping around probably between 3 and 4,500 RPM. chainsaws are an extremely effective cutting tool, and they would be extremely hard on your legs. So you have to wear some sort of leg protection. I prefer bucking pants. This is what I'm wearing now. They are comfortable. They are cooler than these. They stay in place better, and I think they just provide better protection. When you're comfortable, you're better able to focus on the task at hand. If you're uncomfortable, you're having to readjust your gear and stuff all the time. Not so much. It's taking away some of the focus you should have on what you're doing. Alternatively, you can get bucking chaps. So these things, you know, you just buckle them up around your waist, and they have more buckles, a couple more buckles for each leg. You cinch them on over your jeans, and they provide you with some protection. These aren't as good. They don't stay in place as well. I find that they pull my pants down, so I don't like wearing them. They're okay. I have these. Obviously, I've worn these a lot. They've seen a lot of use. I keep these in my truck if I have to, you know, make a couple of quick cuts, get a log off the road or off the trail somewhere, kind of thing. And back in my truck, these work fine for that. Wearing them all day, cutting up a bunch of cords of firewood, not so much. They're better than nothing. So, and they are cheaper than bucking pants. Another downside of these though too is if you're cutting your firewood in warmer weather, this is just an extra layer. So you have your jeans on underneath, and then you have these on over top. You just heat up, and yeah, like I say, they're a little uncomfortable. There's nothing, you know, there's no reason to really buy these if you can afford a pair of bucking pants. Okay, that's that. Boots, wet weather, winter time, these Viking Timberwolf boots are the cat's pajamas. They have an extra little layer of protection in here in the front of the boot. I think it's the same kind of Kevlar that's in the bucking pants. So if you do touch it with a saw, it should prevent you, well, at least slow down the cut a little bit and protect your legs. These ones are corks. They give you a little bit of better grip in the bush, and as I say, if you're doing firewood in the winter or anything like that, these are the way to go. Throw a set of Bamas in here and your feet are going to stay warm and dry. The drier weather, you're going to want some decent leathers. These ones, you know, they should be CSA approved, right? Have the little patch sewn onto them. Steel toes, proper shank in the bottom, and the ones I like to wear, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. That's Viberg. They're a local boot company here where I live. They make an excellent boot. I've been wearing these things for years, and you cannot go wrong. They're expensive, but you know, Viberg will resole these for you. You can get them tuned up after a few years if you start wearing them out a bit. These ones are due. You can see I've got a new pair on my feet right now anyway though, but yeah, well worth the money. Your feet are everything. If you work outside, you have to take care of your feet. Get yourself a good pair of boots. Don't skimp. I've tried all the, what are those, oh, anyway, you know, a million different pairs of cheap boots. They're not worth $1 of your money. You just spend the money, get something good. And I think that's pretty much that for safety gear. You can add stuff as you feel you need it. You know, they do make jackets that have that Kevlar and stuff in them, and gloves, and it goes up around your neck. Goes on and on. You can get right carried away with that stuff if you want to. This is a minimum. This is what I use, and hopefully get a little something from that. Be safe, wear your gear. Alright, we're going to move on to maintaining the saw.